Magic. There are two forms most people understand. There is magic, spelled M-A-G-I-C, that you see on television where a rabbit appears out of a hat. A saw magically cuts a woman in half and then is put back together without harm. Or a magician uses card tricks to entertain an audience. Then there is magic, spelled M-A-G-I-C-K, which is spiritual and inborn in almost everyone. It is the thing that drives you through life, provides you guidance where there is no visible guidance in front of you, and helps you grow your unique gifts if you choose to do so. The narrative is not a how-to guide or reasons why you should follow your magical calling. It is a narrative of magic's origin, history, and future for both witch and non-witch. In a series of Witches episode 4 Texas, we peer into the past, before there were witches, magi, druids, and others to explore who or what lit the spark that created magic. We will answer your questions. Where did magic originate? How did magic grow? Is magic evil? Then we're going to meet two modern-day witches. We will first encounter a witch of light and high magic, who has a gift for genuinely helping others, and a voice for magic and the community. But she also has a sensual side, and we have a little bonus after her interview to show you what she's all about. Our second witch in the docu-series is a dark magic witch like no other. She is in the deep dark. She works with everything that is beneath, including death magic. She will perform on camera a soul chanting and spellcasting that is mystical, dark and beautiful. It is something you don't want to miss. Do not fear, grab yourself a cup of coffee, tea or your favourite witchy adult drink and sit back as I safely guide you through this series of Witches Texas. It's going to be an exciting one. The beginning. Before there were Egyptians, Sumerians, and Atlanteans, there was the knowledge of a universe, passed down to humankind. This original knowledge of the universe became lost to humans. What came after is called the 7 liberal sciences. Some call this the corrupted sciences because their origins are not from the source, the creator or God. The 7 liberal sciences are grammar, to teach humankind to speak and write; rhetoric, to teach humankind to speak in subtle terms; dialect, to teach humankind to discern between truths and lies; arithmetic, to teach humankind to compute; geometry, to teach humankind to measure things; music, to teach humankind song and instruct musical language; astronomy, to teach humankind the course of the planets and the stars. Astronomy helped with knowing when it was time for the growing seasons to start and tell time and days. Geometry and arithmetic helped create significant structures, homes and walls for protection. Grammar, rhetoric and dialect help people learn the art of communication, business dealings, negotiations and how to barter. Music helped to document the first stories and history through song. It was common for storytelling to communicate events, news and local gossip. As with everything, when people fear something, it is easy to call it evil. It is a protective mechanism that we all have called fear that allows us to stay in our happy comfort zone. Yet there is 10% of a group or population that is okay living outside of their comfort zone, which is how magic began and evolved. We will now dive deeper by referencing some well-known text. There is a vast amount of well-documented history in the Holy Bible and the Gnostic scriptures, the Book of Enoch, the Book of the Giants, ancient writings from the Sumerians, Egyptian hieroglyphics, ancient writings from North American, Central American, and South American Indians, and Freemasons' writings. Magic started slowly by establishing weights and measures that set land borders, polygamy, musical instruments, martial arts and combat, metalworking, and metal fabrication. Hieroglyphics, created as a secret language, replaced just verbal communication for the transfer of knowledge. Masonry birthed fantastic structures, monuments, and empires. Around the same time, the roots of astrology were born. Many of the ancient texts described above all point to the Watchers, who helped provide guidance and instruction on mysticism. Through these spiritual beings, there was a birth of knowledge that followed: the zodiac, esoterics, assigning of the heavenly bodies to months, and the gods' and goddesses' knowledge became known. As all this was happening, a small group arose called the Brotherhood of the Snake. Their role was to manage, protect, and document all knowledge. Later, a group named the Knights Templars gained vast lands and secrets. When the original Knights Templar disbanded, the original Freemasons absorbed their secrets into their organization. The Knights Templar still exist today, yet now they go by the name of Sovereign Military Order of the Temple of Jerusalem. Like the Freemasons, they accept new members. If you so desire, you are welcome to join. Finally, we have the Vatican, that contains an underground vault filled with fantastical ancient text, documents, books and other artifacts that are studied and catalogued by those handpicked by the Vatican to do so. These texts, items and books contain knowledge that is not yet released to the public and may never be released. Now we will backtrack a bit and go back to an older era where the source of magic truly began. Our destination is the ancient empire of Babylon. It is here where we start our true journey into magic as we know it today. During Babylon's time, two dark sages, Herod and Mereret, taught ancient witchcraft to the people. Babylon is considered the birthplace of true mysticism, and the advancements in astrology, divination, alchemy, fortune-telling, hieroglyphics, mediumship, and all other magics. Now, all this powerful magic didn't simply disappear. It was protected and kept hidden from those seeking to destroy it, whether it be by human hands or by the physical elements. And hid it they did, in a very secret place. To this day, its secrets are hidden away and waiting to be discovered. Hidden within multiple vaults and buried deep within the earth are powerful secrets. The location, somewhere close to the Great Sphinx. The exact location, secret. In these vaults is one pillar made of brick and one made of stone and brass. Inscribed on these pillars are ancient mysticism and powerful craft. The inscriptions written in a secret hieroglyphic language that only a loyal follower of mysticism can only read. Depending on the elements the pillar would contact, one pillar could withstand water damage, and the other could withstand fire. If world destruction came by water or fire, there was a slight chance of both pillars destroyed at the same time. The pillars themselves are buried deep within the earth. To find the exact location, a seeker must first find the third pillar above ground with information to safely navigate the vaults. This pillar will contain secret hieroglyphic language written on it, which only a faithful and loyal follower of mysticism can read. Find this pillar, and you will find the vaults. Without a map, it is impossible to find vaults or safely navigate them. Legend states that even if someone is lucky enough to find the vaults, great peril is sure to exist since magic protects them. Conspiracy theorists state that those who know where the pillars exist hide them from the general public. If the general public had access to the powerful mysticism and magic within, its knowledge in the wrong hands could lead to great catastrophe. Groups such as the Freemasons, the Brotherhood of the Snake, and the ancient Babylonians held these secrets' whereabouts and may still keep them today. If this information was so secret, how did it come into the hands of druids and witches of old? During the time of Nimrod, this information was still available to the Sumerians. Nimrod was said to be a demigod himself. To preserve magic, he inscribed all mystical knowledge on pillars. He also provided the same knowledge from the pillars to the Egyptians. Within a year of the Egyptians learning the knowledge, their culture flourished. Egyptian priests used this knowledge to manifest the desires of the pharaohs. They built great structures, pyramids, advanced water systems, sophisticated medical procedures, and more. Along with Babylon, there was another place where magic was plenty and flourished. This place was called Atlantis. Even with the destruction of Atlantis, magic continued to progress. It grew and was adopted by the Greeks, Persians, and Romans. They held on to knowledge and continued to pass it down to other cultures. After these times, and with the continued rise of organized religion, the era of magic slowly moved underground. Practicing the craft was still available, but less of it was shared. Witches became more solitary, keeping their gifts secret or hidden within the family. Magic slowly slipped into a very dark era. Witches and druids were prosecuted and put to death for their beliefs and gifts. A large majority of the old magic was lost and completely disappeared. The bloodline of Babylon and ancient magic still exists today. And if what I say is true, then perhaps a witch living today will heed the calling of the pillars of old, navigate the vaults, and return the beauty, true magic in the world. The future of magic and witchcraft is clear. We're at a starting point of relearning the ways of old. Magic is still evolving, and as we learn, the gifts and power we gain must be used to serve others, better our society, and better the world. History exists for us to learn and not repeat our mistakes. Today's witches are not the warlike beings of ancient Babylon, who used magic for battle and control. Witches of today have learned the past lessons and see the world through the eyes of peace, understanding, and acceptance. If history has taught us peace, it has also taught us to watch, listen, and protect if needed, because the days of persecution are over, and this history can never repeat. Not in this realm. Not ever. Now it is time to meet our first Texas modern-day witch. She is a beautiful soul who owns her own dance studio, where community and acceptance are the focus. She follows a path of light and high magic. Welcome, Crimson Minx.
I'm Crimson Minx, and I'm located in Austin, Texas.
So tell me a little about of your growing up, and at what part did you feel that magic became part of your life?
I think as a young child and even growing up, I always saw a sense of magic in the world and enchantment, though I would not say that I fell into a magical practice actually until my early to mid 30s.
What kind of drove you that way? Why the 30s?
I know. So I think like a lot of people I've discovered, people uncover this part of themselves when going through some kind of traumatizing or non-ideal experience and just looking for something to help heal or gain more insight. And for me, it was a breakup with a dude, as I believe it happens with a lot of people, but it was such a blessing because it led me down this path as I was looking for healing and I was looking to just learn more about myself and creating the life that I wanted. It just felt like I was so tired of life happening to me and I really wanted to take charge. And so this would have been around 2013. I dove really deep into magic and witchcraft and saw almost immediately positive change. And so I've been a devoted practitioner ever since, but perhaps unlike other people you've interviewed, it wasn't something that happened from an early childhood age or an ancestral thing. It really was a form of self-discovery for me.
Did you have any type of like clairvoyancy or being able to see things or feel things when you were younger?
Nope.
No, huh? Interesting.
Nope.
So it was your 30s then, 100%.
I still don't have any strong sense of clairvoyance.
So you talked about, in your 30s, you really dived deep into witchcraft. What kind did you get into, or was it kind of like all over the place?
Well, in the beginning, it was all over the place trying to discover what worked for me. Where I've ended up really finding a sense of belonging is in high magic, in the world of magic, high magic, chaos magic, as well as I do love divination and tapping into a higher intuition that way. So tarot, astrology, things like that. So even though I'm not a gifted medium or I don't have any sense of a clairvoyance, I do feel really connected with the world around me, because for me, all of my power comes from understanding and working with energy.
So, how do you feel that is like moving you in a certain way in your career and in your life?
Oh, sure. Well, when I discovered witchcraft and I started developing a magical practice, it was the understanding of not only that I could manifest the world around me. So I should say that my definition of a witch is someone living fully in their power, using energy to manifest the world around them. And so it's worth mentioning that I really do say that the day that I became a witch was the day I took my first sensual movement class. And so I currently own a studio called Minx and Muse, where we teach both sensual movement and witchcraft, which boggles some people's minds. But to me, it was my experience that was when I came fully into my power. And so it was just a natural match to create a business around. And so ever since I did start my witchcraft and my sensual movement practice probably within the same 6 months. And so it was just a natural expansion for me. But for me, without tapping into that sensual movement, essentially, which allowed me to reclaim my sexual sovereignty, to understand how to wield that sensual sorcery, and maintain a source of embodiment that allows me to tap into my natural intuition. All of those things combined, that's when I then identified as coming fully into my power. Before that, when I was disconnected from that part of myself, I really couldn't say I was a witch because I wasn't living fully in my power. So combining that in terms of like an energy modality with then my wisdom and knowledge around high magic and working and manipulating energies, and putting with that the idea of spell work and other magical practices, it all came together. And so where I was when I started this practice 8 years ago, I've completely shifted my life. So I've moved cities, I've changed careers, I've shifted how I feel about myself, how I show up in the world. And so when you say like, where am I going 3 to 5 years from now? Just further into my potential and just focusing on doing things that light me up and light up the world around me. So I just see myself continuing on this path, but just in a more expansive manner.
What is one thing that you could say that it has brought you that you are just extremely grateful for?
So tapping into my sensuality and my enigmatic energy through dance has essentially taught me that I have control over my body, my energy, and what the world is around me. So it's given me a sense of personal responsibility and an understanding of all the power I do wield. So it really did help shift me from like a victim mentality where the world happens to me to where, oh my goodness, I have the ability to change the world in my own desires, right? So the idea being there is, when we do this sense of movement, this style of movement, I call it esoerotic dance, but doesn't matter what you call it. What you're doing is you are doing multiple things. So you are lighting up that sacral chakra area. You're opening it, you're clearing it, you're charging it. And that's where a lot of our magical energy, it's where our magnetic manifestation and creatrix energy comes from. So with so many people, that area of our bodies is closed down. So we just don't have that energy to access. So it doesn't matter what kind of spell work you're doing. When you don't have your own personal energy center to put into it, you're going to be a lot less successful in the workings that you're doing. And then people might ask, but why dance? Thing is, as a magician, and I came to understand this through my learning of high magic, is that as we're doing not what I would call like a non-linear dance, right? So in a sensual type of dance situation, you are just allowing your body to move you and being connected with it. Well, when you're doing with that, you're entering a state of gnosis. And so gnosis is when you are having the ability to reprogram your subconscious mind to override old programs. And so as a conscious witch, when I am doing my sensual movement practice, I am consciously making sure that I am reprogramming my mind in a way that I want to. So whether that's setting intentions beforehand, and even through kind of the self-touch, you are reprogramming your mind that my body is mine, my energy is mine, my sexuality is mine. Powerful energy lies behind all of those things, which then in turn helps, as is within, so is without, right? We know that as witches. So as we reprogram our subconscious mind, and as I'm doing this in the state of gnosis through this sensual movement, I am really coming into my power, and I'm able to then change the world around me because I've consciously changed my inner world.
Is there any energy or any entities or anything that you're afraid of working with? Like, that you kind of just want to stay away from, you don't want that energy coming with you, and there's no way you could find a way of working with it?
Sure. I mean, I am energetically sensitive, so I have had negative energy attachments, and I have seen, let's call them negative, demonic, whatever you want to call it, energies in other people. And it doesn't feel good, but I'm aware when it's there. And so some of the most when that happens and when you have those experiences, you really do open your mind to the possibilities of all of the world, right? And so I do everything within my power to only work with high vibrational beings. So whether that's archangels, whether it's loving benevolent ancestors, whether it is spirit guides, but I personally will not work with lower vibrational beings, despite the fact that I know some practices do that. I have worked with some kind of more neutral spirit beings in spell work from time to time I've done, and I don't even do that anymore because I notice the outcome is never really what you want it to be. And so I now intentionally only work with high vibrational beings, and trust that some of the mystery is meant to unfold, and I don't actually have to control everything in the way that I think it should be.
If you could wish for anything in the world and say a few magic words to have it materialize for you, what would that be?
Wow, if I could say a few magic words and manifest anything in the world, I have to say just for people to be happy. Because I think ultimately at the end of the day, that's what we all want. So we think we want a spell to manifest a car or a new home or to get our ex back or to get that perceived dream job. But ultimately at the end of the day, we all just want to be happy. So wouldn't it be nice to just skip right there? And that's a good mindset to have when doing your magic, to always set yourself up for something even better or something for my highest good, as opposed to thinking that we know what that is already. So you learn that, I think, moving from a baby witch to a more experienced witch, to do your spells for things that are less specific and do them for things that are just for your highest good and things that are just going to make you happy.
Where would you not take your magic?
I definitely know my limitations as a witch, and I actually draw boundaries with myself. So I do my magic for myself. I never do magic for anyone specifically outside myself, unless it's someone that has given me permission and asks me to do a spell for them for like safety or healing or something like that. But actually outside of that, I don't work one-on-one with people as a healer. I believe that's something that the gifted healers, it's a heavy charge for them to carry, but I know that I'm not qualified for it. I don't try to change people's minds about witchcraft. I just try to live in my truth. And when people are attracted to that and they ask me, then I will share my practice. But I know that my limitation and my magic is really qualified for myself and myself alone.
Tell me a little bit, or you can tell me a lot, however you want to do it, about your business and where people can find you and all that cool stuff.
My business is Minx and Muse. It's located in Austin, Texas. We do virtual and in-person classes, workshops, events. So we do actually connect with people from all over the country. And you can find us on our website is the easiest, Minx, M-I-N-X, and A-N-D, Muse, MUSE.com. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on all the things. And so our mission at Minx and Muse is to help people awaken their innate magic through dance, movement, and witchcraft.
It is now time to meet our second Texas modern-day witch. She is mystical, a dark goddess, witch, starseed, and priestess who has journeyed timelines and varied experiences to come here and be with you today. Welcome, Heidi Summers.
My name is Heidi Summers, and I live in Austin, Texas. I've grown up here and lived here my whole life.
So you spent a large part of your life learning your craft and secret. I remember you saying that. And during that time, how did you gain all your vast knowledge?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because, you look at, or you get in these groups with other witches and healers and that kind of thing, and everyone has their own approach to how they came to their magic and, how they progressed along the journey. And for me, it's always just been a really intuitive thing that I've trusted. It's been less about learning from books or learning from particular deities or goddesses or that kind of thing, and more just like an awakening to myself. It's really like, for me, my craft or my healing, all that I do, it's not really a choice. It's more just, this is who I am. And so yeah, it was just sort of a steeping into and a falling back into, okay, what's really true for me? And everything just kind of appeared, and the people that I needed to learn with appeared. And like witchcraft and magic, like you look at all the traditions over time, and it's such an oral tradition, right? It's almost like when you gather with people in a circle, there's a big power there that you can't really put into a book. You can't really even speak it. Like now, it's almost like the words don't do the magic justice. And so a part of the secret, crafting in secret, I would say I kind of am like a little hermit witch, but I like to see and work with people too. But there's something really sacred about the practice with yourself, like that ritual going inward daily and, asking questions to better understand who you are, how you manifest in the world, and then how you also relate to others. So yeah.
So why are you more open now with your practice versus not being so?
Yeah, so again, it's just kind of like it's about like, not really, I don't want to say I don't have a sense of agency or choice, but what's more peaceful? And for me, I've experienced a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, a lot of grief and loss in my life. And for me, it's, especially in the last few years, I guess from my early 20s to now, there's a lot of big shift and upheaval and trauma that came forward into my consciousness to be dealt with. And it kind of was triggered when I went to massage school, and it was like a remembering. Like, it wasn't like I needed the education really. I was just like, oh, I know how to do this. And that was like a re-sparking of my intuitive gifts. And there's a lot of pushback initially for myself because I am the deep, dark, and that's just kind of who I am. I'm like death magic. Every other card I pull for myself is the goddamn death card. And so there's a lot of fear I felt around that. So there's the pushback, but it's kind of like the universe puts you in situations where you eventually say yes or no. And for me, it was peace or sorrow. And so I chose peace. And that's when I just was like, okay, this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to serve. And I do have really powerful gifts, and I don't take that for granted. And for me, it's more about being a vessel, like trusting the universe that I have this for a reason, and then being a vessel for others to, do their own work and heal themselves.
At what age did you feel that you had these unique gifts?
I would say as far back as I can remember, probably age 4 or 5, I think I was a little awesome witch. I saw spirits. I definitely saw colors all the time. I also saw really dark things. And because I grew up with a lot of fear-based ideologies, sort of like conditioning into me, that I really feared a lot of what I saw. And so there's a lot of oh my God, this is so much. So I kept it a lot to myself. I was like a little hermit witch then too. I kept a lot of it to myself, but I had a lot of joy as well in how I express my magic. And for me, all words are spells. Like everything we say, we're casting that out into the universe, and that is essentially a spell. And so I remember beginning to be really intentional with my words. I grew up in a Christian household, Southern Baptist, really great experience. But anyways, I remember that, and there's nothing wrong with that if this is people's path, but for me, it didn't resonate. And I remember sitting down with my mom when I was 5 years old, and she was like, oh, are you ready to ask Jesus into your heart? Which is like a thing that they do. And I was sitting there and I was like, well, I'll do the thing, I guess. I'll do this little ritual, whatever it is. I'll say the words. But for me, I remember thinking, why would I need to say this prayer or invite him in when I feel the energy of Jesus all the time? In another life, I was super buddy with Jesus. So I was like, oh, Jesus is really not that big of a deal. He's a cool energy to work with, but I don't see Jesus as this person that I have to serve, or it's I saw everything as non-hierarchical. So I remember feeling that was significant. And then another fun memory before, I'll just bore you with all my fun memories. One thing I did in particular was I wanted to, I astro traveled a lot in my dreams. I had really wild dreams. And I remember there was one time where I really wanted to leave. I wanted to leave the place that I was in, which was my home. So I was like, oh, you know what I can do? And I mean, it wasn't this methodical, it was just like something I naturally did. I went and found a big black Sharpie and I went into the living room, and behind the couch, which I like to chill behind the couch, just like a cat or something. I went behind the couch and we had wood paneling, and I drew like an outlet sized door, so to speak, in black Sharpie. And I would go and sit there, and I remember essentially was I was sending my soul through that space, like I was creating a portal to keep myself safe. And that's really fucking cool. So that's like something I'm really proud of about my little child self. And there's other things, but that's like highlight reel.
At what point did you feel like, well, I really need to follow this path over being kind of still kind of led to a more light path?
For me, I don't know, everything sort of, my life has been very nuanced. Like things sort of start to shift slowly, almost like a Rubik's Cube, but like in slow motion over time. So it's like a spiral and things start to morph into whatever it needs to be. And I did start out with like really love and light oracle decks, and it was super pretty and nice, but there was still a lot of darkness and like humanity, like grief, struggle, pain that I was dealing with on an internal level. And about probably around the same time, like 3 years ago, I was like, okay, well, this is what I'm showing the world. This is how I'm showing up. But what does my life look like? Where's the parallels? Where's it not matching? And where am I not allowing myself to step into more of a state of balance? And again, it was like, where am I fighting myself? And I was just so done fighting myself. And I've been cultivating that like depth or dark or death magic over the last few years. But I didn't really bring it forward until the last like year and a half, 2 years, like slowly letting it come out, because people have so much fear, right? Around what does that even mean? And does it mean, you're dealing with all these dark entities and they're going to latch onto you, and then you're going to turn into a demon and like eat my face off? So for me, it's like, what, knowing your audience, like knowing, is this going to incite more fear for this person, or are they ready to accept a bit more depth? So in terms of just talking about really quick, like when I work with people, it's like knowing where they're at and where I can take them, and that consent of like them saying, yes, I'll go there. I guess the trigger was getting out of an abusive relationship and realizing that there's a lot of stuff I had to deal with for myself, and that required looking at the light and the dark. And people that say love and light, because we all know the people that say love and light all the time. Yay, that's amazing. Which honestly, it like annoys the shit out of me at this point. Yeah, God love them. But the thing is if that's all you're saying that you're bringing, there's some level inside of you, like some level of fear you're holding on to. And like you're saying that you're not accepting that wholeness. Like for me, it was like, okay, I'm at this low point and I'm tired of pretending everything's okay. I'm tired of being somebody else, like being someone other than myself, really. And so it was just a sitting deeply in my shit until I found what's below the soil, and then what's below that. And then if you go down deeper, what's in that like dark space that you can't see anything, there's no lights turned on. And so for me, it's evolved into this, like there is light inherent in the darkness, and it's, the void. There's still stars in the void. There's still, that's where creation happens. There's so much that nurturing and healing that happens in darkness. And so many people are like, ooh, darkness, and perceive it to be evil. So for me, what I like to bring forward is darkness is actually the most healing thing you could ever bring forward within yourself, and, you know, holding up that mirror for others, because without it, you're going to end up fractured. And why not accept more wholeness?
You have like a really cool way of describing yourself. So for the people that do not understand anything that we are doing, and they're just getting this for knowledge, so you call yourself a dark goddess, a witch, a starseed, a priestess, and you journey through timelines to bring expertise and excellence in soul honoring service. So explain to me what all that means to someone that has no idea what this is.
Yeah. So to me, you know, as humans, we like to put everything in boxes, black and white, it's this or it's that, and we've created this structure of time that is linear. What if time is non-linear, and our soul, or our oversoul, which is the totality of our essence, can exist throughout all time and space all at once? For ease, this could be perceived as like past lives, that kind of thing. So for me, like I was saying, a remembering of my gifts, that kind of stuff, it's I'll sit in meditation, and I'll be able to go within and, you know, visualize or see things that just sort of pop up. Like if you sit with yourself long enough with your eyes closed, you might start seeing shit. So for me, it's like journeying in terms of meditation. And then I see times and places where I've been a healer, or I've been what felt to be a priestess, leading circles, that kind of thing, doing a lot of like dark healing arts and caves and that kind of stuff. So, and then also the starseed thing would be, I have also had those like type of meditations or shamanic journeys where I go and connect with these beings that are non-human, but feel to be of the stars or of other planets outside of what we are consciously aware of here and now. And another example I like to give is, essentially, I came into this life as like an old ass witch with like 1,000 years behind my belt, and like it made no sense, like the questions I asked as a child, and the way I perceived things, and the way I observed everything from a very young age. And so for me, I've seen that, and then I feel it in my body. Like I ask my body, like our body is the ultimate truth teller, because we have cells, and cells hold memory. And so we take that memory from all those timelines with us here and now. So if you can go within, feel in your body, and you ask, is this true? And maybe even clarify, like, can I hear this in a non-biased way at this time? Yes or no, and feel that in your body. And if it's a no, come back to it later. But eventually ask that question, is this true for me? And if you feel a yes, then it's a fucking yes. Like it's that trusting yourself that I am who I am. And it really doesn't matter the title. It's just whatever label or word is serving you at that time to get across the message that really can't be expressed in words.
Right. Is there any energies that you do not like working with, or you have, I won't say fear, but have more of a reservation on working with them?
Yeah, so no is the short answer. I've gotten really good. This isn't well phrased, but I've gotten really good at like casting out dark energy. What I mean by that is energies or entities that have ill intent, which may really just be an unconscious entity that has less life experience, or is just a really like sort of reptilian kind of unevolved energy that, whether it wants to or not, it's causing problems. So I have this ability to see people's little demons, And I was really afraid when I first started to step into that. That was also something that I didn't bring forward right away, because I was like, oh, people are going to think I've been casting out demons. Like, you know, those pastors that just like knock people over. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. So, but a lot of our pain and discomfort and emotional bullshit is stored in our bodies. And what better way to alleviate some of that than identify, okay, this dark, like I see it often, like there's this like amazing tourmaline stone I have right here. I see it almost as this color, and it's like black and sticky and a little fucked up looking, and it gets attached to people's bodies. And so I'll move it out of their body and cast it out with soul chanting or light language, which I know we talked about a little bit, and we can describe that more later. So I'll cast it out, and I'm not afraid of it now. Like, I know it is what it is. For me, I don't need to know exactly where it came from or why it's there. I just discern, does this feel like a healthy energy? Does this feel like it's good for this person? Does it feel like it's good for me? Okay, if not, a lot of times it's like attached to the ancestral line, like addiction, pain, illnesses that we've carried over and over and over. And now we're just ready to release it and send it back to wherever it came from, so it can go be happy in its little dwelling place, wherever it fucking belongs, these little hairy, weird, sticky creatures. So yeah, so I don't avoid any energies. It's just, again, whomever I'm with, depending on how they handle, the depth of that, because it can feel scary. Like, fear is a very normal response to shit like that. But especially people who have experienced patterns of abuse, I often find they carry some of those shadows with them. And so I just change my language depending on who I'm with. And sometimes it's like, oh, there's a little thing here, and we're just going to move it on out if you're ready. Like, and usually people say yes. And so yeah, it's just, I can see whatever it exactly looks like, and it could look really fucking weird, but I'm not afraid of it because I've seen some fucking weird shit. And part of that is I've gone within, and I went to like a dungeon where I was at some point, and there was like blood sacrifices, and that was really fucked up. So since I can go and sit with that, I can sit with this little weird fucking furry creature. That's not my dog. So I hope that helps.
If somebody is very, very advanced in witchcraft, and you have another person that's also advanced in witchcraft, but is called a priestess, what is the difference between a priestess and just somebody who knows a lot about witchcraft?
Yeah, so dear readers, dear listeners, so for me, everyone's going to have a different answer to this because we're all human. We're all perceiving things through our own lens. When I sit with that question, okay, who knows a lot about witchcraft, or who identifies as a priestess? For me, titles are kind of gifted to you. And it could be like, I could say, okay, Art, you're this amazing priestess, and I can't even. You're so amazing. I've seen you work. I felt your energy. I just want you to know that you're a priestess, and receive that or not. And you could be like, ooh, I don't even know how that feels because I'm just Art, or, whatever. And so the initial thing is sitting with that energy. If you feel fear around it, I would say lean into it and see what's there, because it might be fear of your power, which could be something to receive deeper. And if you feel so inclined, or you have the wherewithal to dive in a little further, okay, what does it mean to me to be a priestess? And what does that require? Which requires, again, I don't like restrictive language, but it's like, what does that mean? How do I manifest in the world if I am taking on this? So for me, that would be practice. I practice daily. I do my rituals. I get up in the morning and I move my crystals around and I talk to the spirits, I talk to the trees, I talk to the squirrels. And so it's that daily practice, that commitment to being inside of alignment. And it's essentially walking the talk. It's like you look at religion and it's like there's people who know a lot of shit, and then you see people that actually, it's like serving them in a way, because they're doing whatever practice that makes them feel whole, that connects them within. And we've all met Christian, Catholic, Buddhist people who you can feel when you're with them that there's something connected. Mm-hmm. That it's like you can see the clarity in their eyes, the eyes being the window to the soul and all that. So it's just practice. It's that commitment to your own path. And it's also, you're not flippant. You're not frivolous with your magic. You're not going out there saying, oh, I just read this book and I'm ready to teach this class and it's going to be so great. But you're not doing your meditation, or you're not doing your daily pulls. You're not journaling. There's no self-inquiry. So, it's whatever title you feel resonates, and then also taking action.
So there's a bunch of different goddesses and entities, that people work with. What are some of the ones that you feel are the most powerful in your life that you like to call upon or work with?
Yeah, so again, it's very nuanced for me. There's times where certain goddesses or entities will feel like I'll feel more pulled towards than others. I mean, just like off the top of my head, goddesses and energies that I love, Hecate, Persephone, Diana, Lilith, they're my jam. They get me. And to me, dark goddesses are actually just balanced beings. It's like there's, they hold nothing back. They're like, this is who I am, accept it or not. And I like that. I like that authenticity, and that brings out more authenticity in myself. I love Isis. I love Osiris. I love any energy where you have to go down sort of below the earth or below this realm, and traverse something that you have to work a bit harder to see. So it's like that darkness. You have to work a bit harder to see what's really there. That really excites me, because it's kind of like an investigation, trying to find what it is that you're being pulled towards. And as I work with a lot of death magic and death rituals, I find that I'm often drawn to, tombs, sarcophagus, these burial grounds beneath the pyramids, things that, may or may not exist on this plane, but definitely hold a lot of power. So for me, it's that energy, those energies that I love working with. I also love Marie Laveau. She likes to walk with me in the graveyard and we do some shit and it's cool. And I'm constantly getting more messages about what death magic is for me and what I can do with it. So for me, it's I'm just receiving and I share as I receive. I also, I call on an ancestor that was my father in another lifetime, and he passed in this lifetime. I call on him every day because he's just the shit and he's a protector, and I like that. I call on, I call on different energies each day depending on what I'm feeling. And sometimes I just call on every fucking thing that I want that day. It could be all the dark goddesses, it could be some archangels, just whomever I need for that support. And most of the time it's not even a thought. It's just I sit there and okay, and just the names will come out. One thing I want to mention in terms of calling in energies is, for me, it's super important that you speak it out loud, because there's something about the vibration of your voice that carries so much weight and power. And also, science says that we believe 80% more of what we say. So being able to speak some of this into existence, calling these energies down with your voice, only amplifies your power as well as their ability to help you, because it's like they're hearing you louder. I mean, it's kind of intuitive, but I wanted to share.
Okay, so now we're at a time where I'll give you the opportunity to show a little bit of your craft.
Okay, so I have some things prepared for us. One thing I want to say, I am going to do some of the soul chanting. Some people call it light language, which I have in the past. And it was all that is brought it to my attention that for me it's soul chanting. And what it does, it's unifying in nature. It removes barriers for healing. Like, it removes all that doesn't belong so that you can be all that you are. It clears things that it's like bypassing the conscious mind to clear whatever's nagging at you in the subconscious that you might not be able to, with English or with your spoken language, heal or move on your own. So I channel it, or I just draw it in. Whatever comes is just whatever is present. And so it could come out as sounds, it could come out as like clicking, it can come out as song. It could sound similar to other languages, but it is really just that universal soul language that everyone can feel. And it's really about a feeling and moving energy in the body, and in your energetic field. So we're going to start with some of that. And then I have a couple spells that I'll speak over everyone at the end. So I invite all of you to sit up nice and tall wherever you're at, noticing where your body is in time and space. And if you can, feel your feet firmly planted on the floor, do so. If you're seated on the floor and your legs are crossed, just notice your sitting bones and everything that is connected to the earth. And taking a big deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Focusing your awareness to the bottom of the feet. And one more deep breath in and out here. With the exhale, we're going to send our focus through the feet to the core of the earth. Feeling these fibers of balance, dark and light, connecting you with the healing core of Mother Earth. Anchoring you, keeping you safe in this plane. Giving you an opportunity to reside within presence and to let go of all that doesn't serve. And you can have your palms up or down on your lap, depending on what feels good for you. And feeling a deep, dark blue star-laden energy pour through the crown of the head, over the third eye, the eyebrows, softening the jaw, moving it down over the neck, over the shoulders, the arms, the fingertips, nourishing the collarbones, the pecs, the heart space, filling up the entire body, moving down through the solar plexus, the upper abdomen, the lower abdomen, the sacral area, your seat, your root, your hips, moving down through the legs, the thighs, wrapping this energy around the knees, nourishing any discomfort here. And then pouring this energy out and down through the calves, over the top of the feet, letting this energy pour through, connecting more deeply your cosmic self with your earth self and your dark nature. In this safe and protected space, we invite in an activation or an opening to a deeper balance of oneness with both dark and light, removing all thoughts that are laden with fear, removing all preconceived notions of what this is or is not, allowing yourself to receive what you need to receive and leave here what you need to leave. Ora vata amma tuina kaya, eshtona siamo titiino kuena, aravatum batiana tiashtosia, ora ki inukuena tamatia. Ostava ammotu notu iata aya, eshtava ki umotuena tia matana. Osta asiano tu ukuyatka ai o seata ama. Orava amotu tu ianaki itomishta. Removing fear from the solar plexus, from the power center, from the abdomen. Allowing yourself to see the truth rather than what others have told you to be true. Araga amotu tu inakayo shtomsia kuna koyata. Araviti umutu kenati utomestasianati utometaya. Aido ovio Saraga ayoshtusi aya. Arave eombayo. Sarakumbayo. Saradi umbaya. Umbayate. Umbayate anata ayo. Eshtanasi ukonakoyata ayo. Etanati itumata aina. Ayamata anaku etiti umba ayasht. Serava etu utu inaka ayum sanati I. Eya Deomai Soravio amayo aravi. Om Saravi A. I am a balanced being of light and dark. I need not fear any aspect of myself or others. I am protected, I am held, I am loved. It is safe to be me in a universe that is known and unknown. It is safe to traverse the cosmos and land in my body. It is safe to ascend and it is safe to descend. I need not question myself anymore or seek out the answers from others. I activate self-inquiry, for in my self-inquiry I find my truth. And in my truth I find my peace. Shakti O Tu E Ana. It is well, you are well, so let it be. And taking a deep breath in through the nose. Exhaling out, grounding again into the core of the earth. Feeling the energy move, noticing where you are in this space. And allowing one more spell come through with kindness, with openness, with peace. Body, reverse chariot, mind, death. The curtain opens, fervent, gentle. There's an ache in the bones of change. The words fall flat like the rain hit. Window sideways with winds faster. The turning of the earth. Body, sink, earth, chariot, assert power and eliminate illusion. Move. Move through the soil of pain and find power within to breathe in the breathless space. Mind so simple, death so pure, without a king. Awakened with pure sight, and sight lost at once. The sun rises again. No graveyard, tombstone unturned. Bringing your left hand to your heart space and your right hand to your lower abdomen, your sacral center. One more time, breathing these cords of connection up through the feet, disconnecting with the core of the earth, knowing you can drop down anytime you choose. And bringing this healing up with a breath in, into the feet. Exhaling, let the energy expand in the body. And 2 more breaths, building this energy up through the legs. Exhaling out the lower abdomen. And 1 more breath in, filling up the entire upper body. And exhale, let everything go, let your hands fall. And again, noticing your body, noticing if anything has shifted or if anything has remained the same. Allowing all of it to be, judging not yourself, judging not your experience, but allowing yourself to move gently into the space where you feel that sense of peace and belonging. There's a lot shifting and turning and churning and creating turbulence in the earth within humanity right now. Come back to this for a deeper grounding when needed. And know that you can always drop in and find your heart, find your root, find the core of the earth, and know you're held safe and loved. That's it. Ayonoku amatiana. Space is sealed. Heart open, circle open. Adaga ayon. And feel your eyes open when you're ready.
Thank you, Heidi. That was amazing.
Yay, good. I'm so glad. That was awesome. I feel the energy of everyone that's going to watch as well. And it's nice to be able to, move beyond the time continuum and call in whatever anyone is needing at any point in time. So yeah, it's just a real honor to be able to share this work. And I'm so grateful that you invited me to do this.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a blessing to have you here. I'm going to give you one last opportunity, if you like, to share with viewers of how they can contact you and work with you if they have a need.
Yeah, so my email is hello@gardenofrebirth.com. My website is gardenofrebirth.com. And that's the easiest way to reach out. If you also want to reach out on Instagram, my handle is @gardenofrebirth, all the Garden of Rebirth things. But yeah, I'm super excited to connect with anyone that feels led.
Magic is interesting because it is in almost everything we take for granted. Not much we do does not come from the 7 liberal sciences where magic originated. When you listen to a moving piece of music, you are experiencing magic. When you gaze upon an ancient architecture or a painting, you are experiencing magic. There are so many other things that could not exist without magic. Fear is a mighty thing. If everyone had given in to their fears in ancient times, we would have not seen cities, transportation, and a host of other things that would have been considered evil. Fear is inborn. You can't beat it. But you can get it to serve you. Use fear to open your eyes to other cultures and ways of life. Fear can prompt you to open a book and learn more about something or someone. It can encourage you to join a group that educates you on something you fear. The thing about learning is it reduces or can even eliminate things that can cause this inborn human instinct. Once you do it, it is liberating. This has been a series of witches.